My name's Sam Crawford and you're watching Street Level Network, connecting music, media and entertainment. In 2009, myself and Simon Britton interviewed Harvey Goldsmith.
I'm Harvey Goldsmith, you're watching Street Level Network.
So Harvey, how did you get into the music business?
I came up through Student Union University route where I turned up late for a lecture one morning, got nominated to be the student rep and decided that music was lacking at my university and went from there.
And what was the first ever gig that you provided?
I started a club called Club 66, January 1966. I did a local band as the first show and I think the second show was a Moody Blues. So I was very lucky. I grew up in a period of time when lots of the great bands of today were really starting, and so just grabbed those opportunities. I trained as a pharmacist, so music was my love. It was in the house. We listened to it all day long. My family were into music. My cousins were musicians, so music was everywhere when I grew up. So it was a natural thing to get involved in it, I suppose.
Apart from Live Aid, which is your most proudest achievement that you think you've?
I think I just did it 2 weeks ago. I produced an event which I worked with Pavarotti, the classical singer, for 25 years, and I just produced a tribute to him because he died a year ago in Petra, which is in the desert in Jordan. It's a 3,000-year-old city, and probably the best event I've ever done in my life, and that was 2 weeks ago.
And what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs or promoters that are looking to get into the music business?
Keep your aspirations high, don't give up, and at every level that you try and go into, make sure that works before you go for the big kill. Just start slow, get some small success and learn everything you can possibly learn, and learn from your mistakes, and then you've got a shot at it. Well, promoting, you're betting on the 3:30 every day, so it's a horse race. There's no level of entry, and you've just got to have a prowess to be able to organise, never say no, and to have an eye and an ear for talent.
Alongside Bob Geldof, he was the mastermind behind Live Aid, the biggest gig of all time.
He is, without question, one of the great impresarios, certainly in our history.
In his 40-year career, he's promoted the world's greatest stars.
I started 20 years before Live Aid, so Live Aid is probably what I'm known for, but I started in the 60s where every week I was seeing something new that just blew me away. Unfortunately, I don't see that today, but there is some great talent out there, and when I do see it, I get just as excited now as I did then. To me, it's all about talent. It's all about presentation and talent, and artists that can create great music, write great songs, and also present themselves that gets you when you're the audience.
Who are your personal favourites, Harvey? Your bands over the years? You say your top 3 bands that you've worked with, and you really, really admire, love, give you goosebumps.
I suppose the best all-round act is Bruce Springsteen. The most exciting band I've ever worked with is The Who. My favourite artist of all time was Miles Davis, jazz trumpet, by far.
And for the future, anyone that's coming through at the moment, or Franz Ferdinand, anyone like that you like, or?
I like some of the new bands. I can't say that I would drop my life to say I'm going to run with those bands. I think Razorlight are great. I like Franz Ferdinand a lot. I've seen them I've worked with them a couple of times. I've heard there are some new kind of really young kind of unsigned bands bubbling around. I can't say that I've seen anything that I would just say, I don't care what goes on, I've got to go for that band. I think it's a bit reinventing the wheel. I hope there's some more stimulation in the marketplace, particularly as times are difficult. So there's a new raft of people coming up. I suppose I'm a bit dyed in the wool. I know what the kind of sounds I like, and I want young people to come up and show me how to do it and come up with their way of doing it, because it's the new generation, you know, they know where it's at.
Knowledge, wisdom, understanding.
And I'm not sure, I don't think it was last year, the year before, you did a TV show for E4, which was absolutely
Loved
brilliant.
it.
And it really was a great insight into how did that all come together, and are you looking at doing anything like that?
Gotta do something like that, mate.
It was absolutely
great.
brilliant.
Channel 4 chased me for about a year, and then we did this series of 7 shows called Get Your Act Together. It took a long time, it took too long to make for me, but they were real life documentaries on aspiring people who thought they'd made it in the entertainment business, and it was a real eye-opener. I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. I'd like to do another series, but 7 months of time was just too hard for me.
There's no business like show business.
Bullshit. Absolute crap.
Harvey Goldsmith is one of the most feared men in show business.
Fucking crazy geniuses, get real.
And was there, out of the various acts that came through on that, is there one that you just thought, why? Because I know Samantha Mumbo had a bit of challenges and...
What I discovered, which completely blew me away, was how little the pop artists actually know about the music business in their lives. This is a girl who'd never worked with a live band before. I mean, I was completely gobsmacked. She was one of them. The show that completely blew me away was the radio station, who just lived in cloud cuckoo land. And I've owned radio stations and been in, had interest in radio stations, and I'm a big fan of radio. These people just had their heads up their asses. They were just in another planet. It was very interesting.
Giving himself just 6 months.
You're fucking nuts.
Harvey's lending his showbiz expertise
I just think you're barking mad.
to 6 acts in dire need of a boost.
Smiley get me out of here a bit later on.
This week, Harvey locks horns with former Radio 1 DJ Mike Reed, now with struggling radio station Big L, which is losing 50k a month.
Hi everybody. This is the worst radio station I've ever seen in my life.
We work our balls off here. We work really, really hard, and he's referring to us as a Boy Scout camp and stuff like that.
Harvey's not happy with the DJs.
Me, I'd find a whole bloody lot of them and program it from home.
And as for the management,
I think Chris is a complete fucking dickhead.
I think the irony of the whole thing, we did this little opera company who were just so perverse, but they then they listened, and they had last year huge success, and God bless them. So it was an interesting experience to do, and I would like to do another TV series, but it just needs to be a little bit easier on my time.
I only think you could do it because you're straight talking. I think that was the whole fun of it. You actually went in there and said it how it was. You're like the Gordon Ramsay of the promotions world, you know,
Well, to some extent, that's the only way it could be. The way what was hard for me, it was completely unscripted. So what was decided was the start, middle and end, which is what all TV shows work on, and where the breaks are and so on. With this, there was no there was a start, there certainly wasn't a middle, and no one knew what the end was going to be. So we had to just live through that experience, and what I felt my role was to hear what they had to say, see what they did, break them back down, all the way down to the start point, and try and rebuild their confidence to give them a lesson in how you could do it and how you could make it work. Saxon was a heavy metal band who just thought they knew everything, and I kept saying to them, if you're so clever and you know everything, how comes you're not bigger than you are?
Oh, the old guys from...
Yeah. But they're doing 10 times better now, because as difficult as it was for them, they did listen, they did pick up a lot of hints, and I think that's fantastic because they're really doing much better.
Have you always been a very straight talking person, that you have non-tolerance of bullshit, really? It's like watching you yesterday on one of the panels in the morning, some of the stuff you said to me.
There was a whole lot of like Etonians there, and you were like, this is how it is, fuck this, fuck that. It was great. I mean, proper.
I think that the key to my success is that I can't lie. I have to tell the truth, and you've got to be brave enough to tell people how you see it. You've got to be brave enough to tell an act who thinks they've done a great performance if they haven't, because nobody ever does. And I've grown and developed a lot of respect for it, because if I say to an act, that was a crap show, they listen. Because everybody else says it was marvellous every night, so how do they know? So if you don't tell people the truth, they can never get better, they never correct themselves, they may not want to hear it, but you have to be strong enough to tell them the truth, because then it works for everybody.
Do you think the live sector, everyone now is now saying the live sector is thriving even more? Do you think it's thriving more than it was 30 years ago? I know times have obviously changed, incomes have gone up so people can afford to go out more.
Financially it is, and that's his difficulty. It's getting a little bit too greedy, too over the top. It's thriving more because you can't beat the live experience, and there are more and more acts on the road who want to share in that live experience. One, two, it's the only way they can make money, because that's their key earning power. So the difference between then and now is there are more acts on the road. There may be too many acts on the road, and some are going to start suffering. But as long as they keep demand up in what they do, i.e. I had my whole thing in life was if you could play a 12,000 seats, sell a 10,000 seater. To me, that is the absolute number one Bible rule. You have to be able to keep demand going. And two, you can't overprice it. If you overprice it, you blow it.
Who sets the fees, Harvey? Do you discuss that with the artist, or?
The balance. It's a balance between the costs, what you think the ticket price is worth, and the fight between the agent and the manager as to what they want.
And there's always a risk, yeah? There's always a risk that you could lose, I guess.
Every show's a risk.
Do you think these the younger promoters who think they're going to make a lot of money very quickly actually really understand what's really involved? Because a lot of these
They'll
people
find out real fast, because if they don't learn to try and find out, they'll never know. There's no cotton wool in our business. You're in the coalface from the get-go, so you're going to learn real quick how it works, or you're going to be out of the business.
I can't imagine the pressure of putting on one of those shows that you're doing, and you've got to get technicians and everything else, posters, press, visas. It's just the whole thing.
How stressful is it on a like a scale of 1 to 10 in what you do from a day-to-day?
150.
And what's next for you over the next 18 months?
We're opening a first rock and roll museum in the UK called the British Music Experience in March. It's going to be fantastic. That's going to be at the O2. That I'm really pleased about, which takes you through the whole history of contemporary music from 1946 up to the future, which is rare in a museum, so we want to be really current.
And you put that all together?
No, I came up with the idea, pushed, kept driving everybody mad, didn't take no for an answer, and that's being done. AEG are building it, and there'll be a foundation running it, and I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing to make that happen, so that's my big thing for next year. www.harveygoldsmith.com.
For more interviews, check out www.oftenmisunderstood.com.